Notice Axe is playing way off again. They leave Axe at the hoops and they move Casey Irwin over to play point. Again, one of the elite point defenders in this game. Is force and very difficult to get around. She has excellent form and really quick feet.
Galloway and a keeper passing across.
And just a good job by the beaters create another situation. Notice Mari goes to get in front of the play. Casey starts off in front of the play. And she says, all right, Augie's got this. And you can't blame her. But as soon as that ball is on the ground, everyone was ready to go make sure that you don't miss this opportunity. And it seems straightforward, but those are the little things about timing that are the difference between winning and losing. Notice, like, as that ball is on the ground, every single person wasn't just out of the keeper zone, they're up at the blue line.
Yeah.
Every person when the ball is on the ground, not just the closest person, everyone was making themselves an option in transition. So that's the difference between being in a huddle and telling your team, we want to play fast, we want to push the tempo, and actually being able to execute it. You can't push the tempo if you don't play hard on defense, which they do. And then you can't push the tempo with just one person. I can't say, like, a coaching revolution this year, I can't say, like, okay, Jake's got this. I need to make sure that everybody's out in front of him so that we can be as dynamic as we can in space and make our goals as easy as possible. Because this team, we've already seen how good of a tackling team they are. They've already brought down some of the best players in the world. One-on-one tackles.
Yeah.
Need to have odds.
And it looks like they're going to take another tactic here to get around.
Casey following the one behind, Axe playing up, and they still have two at the hoops. And that comes from communication. That's Augie and Marty and the beaters saying who they want leave open behind hoops and who they want marked. This kind of hybrid 2-2 looking thing. Beater exchange, and because of that, notice Axe kind of hanging out before the beater exchange. As soon as the beater exchange happens, he knows he's not going to get tapped out, which means that now he can go press. And I think that's one thing that's important if you're a new chaser in this game, especially like somebody playing point. One of the harder things to figure out is, like, when do I go try to tackle and harass the ball and try to poke it loose and be a nuisance, and when do I stay back? Because if you're just harassing all the time, you're going to get tapped out a lot, you're going to get tired, and you're going to actually force your own defense, even though you're just trying to play as hard as you can, you're going to force your own defense into rotations that put them in a compromised reactive position. Right? So it's actually important to know when not to get beat and to prioritize leaving them some space and not getting beat. Max does a great job of waiting. Then when you see a beater kind of run past you, clearly go play with one of your beaters. Or if you see a beater exchange, there's not going to be any more tap beats on you. You might as well go try to lay a hit. He does a good job of timing that.
To force this pass right over here.
Yeah. So now that's in a tough spot. Pretty good ball movement. The player in the backside that the pass was intended for was doing a good job. She cut to the front of the hoop on the drive, like as Axe was stepping. Then the ball gets swung behind. He gets back away from hoops and cuts to the back, which is a good spot, and just has the ball go off her hands. But that timing and positioning was good.
On the other side to Arnett.
And really working hard to try to win the loose ball. She comes up with it, which is just excellent hustle. Just so happens to throw it into his hands.
I'm sorry.
Oh, tackle below the knee.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but good hustle both ways. That's a foul. Like, if you pick it up, and I don't always practice what I preach here, but it's one of those where you pick up a foul like that, don't it's always worth arguing with the ref about something like that. Especially if you're a newer player. It's a hustle play. Sometimes in life you're okay with, hustle fouls. You'd rather have your players on your team hustling and doing what they can to try to win the loose balls in the 50-50s and being afraid to get a card and not making the extra effort plays.
Right.
Naraki clearing some space.
So notice the tap beat makes the player move over. Augie just gives it to the open person.
Yeah.
It's a great job just to get a defense moving. Again, make them reactionary, as well as help some clock the penalty you're trying to kill because she missed that.
Yeah.
I like the off-ball defense right here on Casey by the Western Canada Chaser. Like, especially if that's your scheme. You know, like if someone's telling you to not play help defense, then don't play it. Then play off of the ball as hard as you can. I think if you don't want to be in situations where you're a little of this, a little of that, unless you are exceptionally well practiced on it, in addition to the rest of your. This is an individual effort that she's putting on Casey that's really good as long as it's within the scheme of their defense. Yeah, good job moving the ball.
Moving the ball here after the beat over here, makes him shift over.
I think Naraki taps him too. Yep. No, he just pretends to. And again, now we get some motion. You can't close out on Augie fast enough, and you get a no bludger
situation for an easy goal.
You get an easy goal, even with a man down.
Yeah.
So the pace of that is good, but just the concept of like you're gonna tap somebody out off the ball, give it to him, right? Or just like when Jake threw the ball early to me on the wing, give it to him. If you have somebody that's open, doesn't matter who they are, doesn't really matter where they are on the field as long as it's a safe pass. Just move the ball and make the defense defend you. You're able to do much more make things that make the defense more reactionary.
Right. And it looks like it's they're counting down the penalty right here. This is kind of funny.
More of a man-to-man. You see, Axe isn't watching the ball because he can't really help. So again, I like that. Marty's getting ready to come back in. They're looking for one more stop, basically. Naraki's trying to force some no bludgers. See Canada still with the open person behind right, and one top left that Marty's going to hope to guard after he taps in.
I find this really funny. The beater, he 100% didn't mean it, but throws it.
Goes through the hoop. Yeah.
100% didn't mean it.
For the chaser out there.
Yeah.
It's just another example of like knowing where everyone is and identifying what the other team is trying to do against you. Like, because I think that's a legal throw. I'm not super good on the beater rules, but if that's near her and might hit her, you're taking out the one player that Canada has been consistently trying to work through. It's really not that bad of an attempt and would create no bludgers. It doesn't work out for him, but
trying to juke around.
A good play by 76. I think they called B before.
Yeah.
Casey does a pretty good job of staying in front of him, but he's now gotten past. You know, he's quick.
Yep.
Say that. Almost deceptively slow. He has kind of like a side-to-side shake move rather than like a bit go forward and sideways at the same time. His is kind of a little side-to-side dance and then a really quick step. You're not looking at his belly button or his hips. Sometimes even if you are, you'll lose him. Augie here is trying to get the ball upfield. Felt like they hadn't good opportunity to run even with one beater back, and they do. So it's not quite the same as the full sprint. Notice again, if your keeper's going, get in front of the play. So
So you got an option here.
Marty subs off for Sam Ham, who comes in off the bench and runs past him. Casey did a good job of she's in front of the play, paying attention, and just asking for the ball. So Augie needed a little screen. She's able to give it to him, which lets him get up the field, draw the beater, and put a pass right on Sam's hands. And then it's just a matter of finishing strong when you're at the hoops.
Yeah. And the thing that I love about this is that even it's all about options, because with this type of formation, you have like this triangle, because I've seen this multiple times. You have the one holding the caboose, and then you have the two on the sides. But even when you get the pass here, you still have an open option here, because I'm forgetting his name, but he goes for the cut right here. And even if he really, really wanted to, and you see this beat coming, you still have an wide open pass here to go past. But
And one thing that I should point out, the reason it's wide open is not at all the Western Canada players' fault. They're playing the best defense they possibly can. Still just happens to be faster. It is busting his ass the entire play.
Yeah.
So that started back when they picked up the ball. started sprinting out wide at an angle towards the hoops. Western Canada picked it up. Like they're in man to man, they're doing their best. Just he's just outworking and outspeeding, I guess you could say, that player. I'm not to say that player is working as hard as they can, but it's easy to think, oh, my keeper has a step right now. He already made one pass. I'm just going to stop running. If you stop running, that pass isn't there. And now all of a sudden, instead of a 2-on-1 like it is here, it's a 1-on-1. And we've already seen like this Western Canada team is very talented at tackling and defending their hoops. You know, you could lose an opportunity to score a goal if you lose your mental focus there, which he does a really good job of not losing his focus and finishing his run, even though he doesn't get the ball. And that's important, you know, as a player. Like, you have to finish your runs, finish your cuts, always be there for your teammates, even if you don't get the ball. Because just Murphy's Law. The one time one time they need you there, and it's going to be the time that they throw if you're not there.
Yeah.
So communication, a little, I got him, you got him. Nobody knew who was going to step after the point. Eventually, they figured out Casey goes behind. She's playing off to kind of help near the hoops a little bit.
Doing this back behind again.
And the motion is good. The timing, again, is good, and it's the difference of a completed pass versus an incomplete pass. Right? So just because they're able to come down with this, they get two point beats. They get the beaters to engage and leave the middle, and they use their open player effectively. They end up with a give and go because everybody overcommits, because you now had to deal with 2 rotations because of point beats. You already had a hard time figuring out who was guarding who. Casey ends up going to get 69. You know, you have Axe is beat out. Sam's stepping over. So Sam's already been beat out and had to find a new person. Axe had to decide who that new person was, and he and Casey had to figure out who goes where. Now Axe is beat out. Sam's having to find a new person again. With all of this, the beaters are engaging their beaters, and it's just a very well-timed pass to the back, a good catch, and a good throw back in front of hoops against a very physical and tall keeper in Tyler Trudeau. Axe really has, like, that's the hardest thing to do. If you're in a man-to-man system, you've just been tap beat, and as you're tap beat, the ball goes behind, you're pretty much, like, you can't blame anyone for just guarding hoops there. You don't know who to guard. The keeper can't tell you who to guard. If your beaters are beating behind you, you're just doing your best to make a play and try to stop things at the hoop. So really, Axe is doing a good job here, but because Canada schemed it up and timed it so well, they're going to have a free person running right into the middle for kind of an alley-oop.
And what she does right over here.
Yep.
And gets that little
And that
backhand
was actually the one that Ham was going with, but that's what the chaos can do, is you start ball watching, you fall out of your system a little bit, right? Like, if you're worried some other part of the defense is falling through, it's so easy to just look at that part of the defense and try to help. In so doing, you might be losing track of your responsibility. And so just a great job of Canada. Move the ball, keep cutting around the hoops, get to the danger areas, and finish strong. Couple of good passes.
Then turns right around.
Tyler Trudeau is elite at that.
Boom.
You know, advice, just get out of the way. I mean, you gotta defend your hoops. You gotta play defense. Everybody gets dunked on. You know, there's no. It's a joke to say that it's a business decision not to get dunked on. You know, you do your best. But Tyler, great awareness. If you're a keeper watching this, you know, the best keepers I think to watch are all wearing white. And they all have different styles. It's great awareness after a goal to push the pace and look to make the most of the situation. Now Canada with another good motion here that throws off man defense that we're looking at.
It's a fake.
Jules does what, you know, has been consistent so far of staying with the person you were going with. Like, that's what we've seen. I think Solly ends up wearing a double beat with this kind of exchange. He almost gets, even if he doesn't get double beat, it's almost like an extra screen to run through. But yeah, he gets picked off. She puts her hand up too early, so a good throw by Ryan. again, a really good opportunity with space, and you have the player from the backside. Notice Tyler, again, if you're a keeper, Tyler knows exactly where his outside hoop is. He knew that that person was open beforehand. He could play it.
Taking the handoff, going for the medium hoop.
And he goes for the shot that time instead of the pass. Maybe the cut was just a hair late. But again, I like a lot of the ideas that West Canada was running this game. They were creating mismatches, right? Like Quidditch, you're defending man to man, you're at a disadvantage to guard everybody, and you have to do your best a lot of the time. Good job of moving the ball around the beater. Excellent volleyball pass by. I like what Tyler did there. If you want to bring it back to when he's getting pressured. Right, so this is, if you pause it, three up top and one behind again. It's kind of overloaded. He lets this beater come in. He knows that Jules is open the whole time. And so rather than even using a reset, which you could, he knows that this pass is completely wide open. There's nobody in the same zip code as Jules. He just, lets the pass come, the beater run into his beaters by themselves. So they actually now have a chance at getting control back. And you're able to keep the ball moving and make maybe now this beater move out of the play. So I like that rather than just using the reset. He gets it to Jules, a good cut by Sam. I think so they tapped out 69, who's running back to hoops right now.
Yep.
So they have one chaser with the knee pads trying to cover Tyler and Sam. And now the beater exchange happens, which again, Tyler's happy to wear that beat to move it to the open player. And now Sam Hamm is going to be able to run through with almost nobody in there to stop him.
Yeah. And wide open on this side.
Yeah, and that is a good cut. It's good timing by Sam. Again, we talked about it at the beginning, some of the same concepts coming through. An off-ball chaser, especially if you see the beater leave the middle, if you're unmarked or even if you are marked, go make that dangerous cut right at the outside hoop because it's a really good scoring opportunity. Jules puts a pretty good ball on. It just sails on her a little bit. Just an incredible tap, like a really, really good intentional tap behind hoops, especially as the off-ball chaser back there was coming up to try to help. He gets it to Solly, who gets a shot, and we end up getting a reset out of it anyway. Because of all of that, we have the chance that the U.S. has a chance at control. And we've only used one reset, even though we've been pressured at half and had a shot go over the hoops. And so that's just really good awareness by all the chasers on the field. Like, if you're Solly, like, why not rip this? We haven't used it. Let it fly. If you go top hoop or over the middle hoop, you're at less of a risk of it getting caught or deflected or whatever. So it's kind of like you have the opportunity. If it goes in, it goes in. That's nice.
Yeah.
But if it goes over, if I miss high, I'm just getting a reset out of it, which is a good idea rather than shooting at the short hoop, which is kind of getting pushed over, or trying to shoot off like the outside part of the hoop, like just shoot high.
Yeah.
And let it either go bar down or go over. He has Jules if he wants, but it's a safe throw against a tall keeper. Give it a chance, but then you get a chance to keep playing offense, which is a good job.
Yeah.
And Western Canada was able to keep control after all that. For them, everybody gets tapped and we reset, and it's basically just another chance to play offense again. Tough time for Tyler to sub out, especially against Bludgers.
Yep.
You probably don't want to do that, but it's not really like, since he's on the other side of half, he can't really give it back to him anyway because they already used the reset. Just a good job of collapsing on Jules by the Canadian beaters there rather than over pursuing what they did last time.
Right. Now, quick question. You mentioned about we quickly mentioned about substitutions. So I know that the Americans do a different substitution method that than Canadians do. Like we have, I've heard a lot of commentators looking at national games saying that our type of substitutions are more hockey-like we do our short shifts or shorter shifts than the Americans. So I guess my question is what's your take on the American substitutions, and what's like where might it have come from, and what's kind of like the mindset behind it? Because for Canadians, it's kind of like the hockey mindset, whereas like you put in everything you got for a short amount of time, and then you come off, rest up a little bit, and then do the exact same thing over and over again. So I'm
Yeah,
just wondering
sure.
about your mindset about that.
Yeah, I'd say I think it definitely makes sense. Like, and at first, like when I first think about it, I think it makes sense to do kind of a hockey line change style, like get fresh bodies in. Why wouldn't you be working as hard as you can the whole time, right? Like, if you can completely exhaust yourself in 45 seconds, to have 21 people, on a roster, that should be plenty of subs, assuming everyone's healthy, to really get into your lines and use your depth.
Yeah.
I'll say, I think the reason that it's not as common to do short shifts, full line changes, is the pace of the game. This game has a high pace, and that was what the U.S. and our beaters especially were trying to accomplish. We wanted to as many easy goals as we can, run the ball, get the score up, get out of range. Right. So I'd say most, especially competitive games, are going to be a lower scoring game. You're going to have fewer no blooders on either side. You're going to have fewer turnovers at half. You're going to have less up and down type of action compared to a hockey game. The puck turns over all the time. You have puck possession for 30 seconds or less. Right? Or if you get zone time up near a minute, that's like, it feels like an eternity. Like if you ever watch a hockey game where they've had the ball in the offensive zone, or the puck in the offensive zone for 25 seconds, it's like, holy crap, are they on a power play? Like, what's going on here? The defense can't touch it, right? Whereas in Quidditch, you could watch 30 seconds of an offense, and it doesn't feel that long, and it's because the pace of the play is different. You can
Right.
pass the ball around, you walk the ball up, your keeper, your mind is active, but you can kind of recover a little bit at your hoops, get your wind back. I'd say if it's not a back and forth game, which a lot of times it isn't, players don't get tired as easily, even if they are working their butts off, even if they are working as hard. It's not the same to max requirements that you see out of hockey players to be able to go completely exhaust themselves and then get all of their breath back within 3 minutes. 3 minutes in this game go by like nothing. So I think that's part of it. I think especially at like the college level, depth can be part of it, right? Like we don't have, like, these teams are, national team caliber teams, so you're gonna have very capable players. But if you're a starting college team and it's kind of a close game, your 18th player is not the same as your third player off the bench, right? So you are going to try to maximize your minutes to win that game with the players that you have and the energy that they have left.
Right.
I'd say that's definitely part of it. I think the U.S. substitution style more resembles that of basketball, and I think partially, like, you have country history, like probably play more basketball than Canada does, and Canada definitely plays more ice hockey than the U.S. does. Right? And part of it, I think, is the pace of the game and the way that it's currently played resembles a basketball game more than a hockey game. We're just not up and back as frequently as even like soccer. And same idea. Whereas like if you're running the whole time, and teams don't always, until you get up to the higher levels, like possessions are not really that long. They change a lot. Whereas in Quidditch, you get a long possession, just like a 24-second in the NBA or 30 seconds in college. Even some high schools, it's like 35 shot clocks. Like, play longer possessions in basketball with more stoppages, and I think those types of things make Quidditch closer to that, which I think is why that would be my guess. Why I think the U.S. style is less like hockey substitutions than the Canadian style.
That's really interesting. Now you mentioned basketball, and just a shout out to the Toronto Raptors. Still, just gotta throw that out there. Just.
We're having a really good season too.
Yeah. Even without.
was going off.
Yeah, like they really were, and I was a little bit worried when Kawhi left, but they really just a lot of players just stepped up. So,
And their coach is excellent.
oh
Like I knew he was good before, but have Kawhi, like no offense to Eric Spoelstra, but he's not as good of a coach as the Raptors coach or Brad Stevens or Greg Popovich or whatever, or
yeah,
Steve Kerr, even. But like lose a player like Kawhi and just play exceptional defense and exceptional team ball. You're not just managing egos or superstars at that point. You're doing a really good job of getting the team to play for each other, play together, win games. So Toronto was having a good year.
yeah,
Celtics would have won the whole thing, but Toronto's having a pretty good year.
yeah. I was pretty surprised. So, just a little shout out, just a little part of the segment, just to push basketball while we're talking about Quidditch, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. So back to Quidditch, I guess. We're at the 14-minute mark or the 15-minute mark about.
He gets beat.
Good job by Canada to clean everything up. Almost everything, because Ham can just do that.
Yeah. It looks like he was just going to the back just so that he could get that shot off and then possibly get a reset even if he does miss.
Yeah,
But
well, they already used their reset.
Yeah, is this still the same play? Oh my gosh, wow, I'm completely out.
Basically, he just knows he's alone. Like,
Yeah.
he's gonna be aggressive. It's not a fearful running away from people, but like, he just watched his entire team get beat out and knows that like Naraki doesn't have a ball in his hand, so he's just going. You just go to space at that point and try your very best to make a play. If you go to the middle, I think you're more likely to get tackled. Whereas if you get to the edge, you can at least try to do something.
Possibly get a shot off like that.
And exactly, he's just very talented. He does everything well. He makes it look easy. So we're in man-to-man. You see the unmarked player up on the left. Was in a position where she can help a little bit. I think I don't know if she decides to. She thinks about it without getting herself out of position, which is fine. Solly is an incredible point defender. Wrap. The cut in the back. That chaser. If we go back, they're gonna call Solly for all that. I don't know if I agree with, but this is if you watch the chaser in the back right. So Sam Ham kind of has the idea, okay, they've been running the same type of cut a little bit, and it's easy to fall into what you think a player's going to do rather than staying with it and starting honestly the whole time. And a great read by the player behind, if you think that somebody is guessing where you're going to go, keep them honest. So he's going to slam on the brakes and actually cut rather than a loop behind. He's going to cut up back towards the hoops, and he's open for a second. That right there. Was still looking at the ball the whole way. And that's just something you can do if you're a player off the ball and the person guarding you in a man-to-man is, or a zone two, isn't touching you or they can't see you. Play with that. Run into their blind spot and then get out of their blind spot, right? It'll get you open. And you can even, I think later in the game, there's a good example of playing with people's blind spots to get open. Just shows like if you're off ball and you're defending, touch the person or be able to see them in the ball. You don't want to just be able to see one or the other.
Yeah.
And if you're off ball on offense, keep your defender honest. Make yourself hard to guard. That's a good job by the Canadian player there.
But
yeah, so Solly pulls him down. The ref thinks that he pulled him down by his broom. I think that Solly's just super strong and pulled him down by his wrists.
Yeah.
I don't know the IQA rules that well. Again, it's a hustle card. Like you don't want your player to not make a tackle because they're afraid of getting a card, right? Like we got plenty of depth. We're pretty far in the game. That's a card you're willing to take. And it's a good job of stopping the ball. You'd rather have them stop the ball and deal with the consequences. Canada gets a timeout. It's a pretty tough spot because Ham, because of the way the rule works, is able to run up to the spot of the ball as the play gets stopped. So now you're restarting with a beater behind you and one of the best tacklers in the world standing right in front of you.
Yeah, just a little bit intimidating.
It's kind of like, oh, I got fouled. Like, thanks. Like, what a great opportunity.
Thanks, guys. Wow, this is great.
Yeah. For more thoughts on that, you can check out one of Chris LeCompte's videos, called his soapbox about advantage rule and delay penalty rule. And that's not even a delay penalty. That's just the way the sport works. That's a regular, like, you see the call, you make the call.
Yeah.
And was just hustling to that loose ball. They stop the play. He happens to be in front of it. That's why I think that you should inbound the ball on stoppages in Quidditch, personally. Neither here nor there. That's a different video entirely. Chris LeCompte made a good video about the advantage rule and penalties and restarts in Quidditch. Also, Grace and Ethan on Ethan's channel, the Midline, a really good video on timing of cuts off the ball that can really help because
Yeah.
that might also be watching this video for timing and things like that and how to be effective without the ball in your hand.
Yeah. I do watch the Midline. Those are some really good in-depth analysis, and he does give some really good pointers. I think that a lot of new players should watch. So I'll probably I'll see if I can add like a little bubble somewhere. I don't know. We'll do it in like the top.
You can link it.
Link
good.
it. Link the channel because he does put out really good stuff. So I watch it all the time. I have like a little notebook that I sit at night, have it playing, and I take like my little notes. So really knowledgeable guy, and he's standing like you see him every so often in the bottom over here. So
the unsung assistant coach of Team USA, Ethan. Yaza, the head coach, did a really good job putting this team together and getting us ready. Like the whole coaching staff, everybody associated with the U.S. national team did a great job.
Yeah, really did. You solid. So.
Oh, like you're welcome. You got a foul called.
Yep, caught in between a rock and a hard place. You don't want the ball
back for another 45 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably going to try to roll it to the player on the right. I would kind of duck so I could make it more of a pass maybe, or play mind games like you're going to hike it through your legs to 99, but it's really just a guessing game. I don't think Naraki really has a ball, but especially with the camera angle, I like that you can't tell.
Yeah.
Unless you knew ahead of time, but that's one where communicate with your beaters to find out where the balls are. Process of elimination to see if you can't tell if a beater has a ball.
Seen this Western Canada team score. They've done it twice so far. It's just they need to keep doing what's working.
Flips it over the top. I'm too short to ever do something like that. That's why I thought about rolling it. Good try. But and of course, we're so used to running. Everybody gets out in front of the play, and notice that's fine. We can still play at a slow pace, even though everyone gets out in front of the play. And I say right there, that's an example of like when you catch the ball, you want to get yourself space. Make sure you're going to get space. It's kind of near the midline. I don't want to get pushed over. I don't want to get pushed out of bounds, and I don't want somebody coming to pressure me. So catch the ball. It doesn't have to be that excessive, but give a shake, kind of back yourself up a little bit, and see how she steps back 2 steps.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I just gave it back to Jake. Set a down screen for Jules. Their player. So this is a good example of communication and not doing such a great job, or maybe they don't know. Maybe they didn't know what they're going to do against screens. But Jules comes up, and I'm going down to set her a screen. The player is following me the whole time. The player that was guarding Jules is planning on switching. So now I have 2 with me, and Jules is completely wide open.
Yeah. For the pass right over here, and you have 2 with you.
And so you just kind of open up, make yourself available while they decide who's going to guard who. And that was guarding Jake goes over to guard Jules, and is able to push her out near the sideline. I don't know if they're going to stop it or if they decide it was from behind, I guess.
Yep.
And get out of the way because I decided I was clearing it up and cutting back and forth a little bit behind hoops.
Yep.
All the way up. I'm kind of just being antsy. Jake bounces the ball to me again like you saw before.
Yep.
A tap beat on mine. Canada is doing kind of have that player way off. So if you go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Before that even. So see, pause. So the player that's picking up that one in the middle is like way back by the keeper zone. I think originally they're planning on having it be the keeper so that you can't really beat them, and they have help in the middle. Not a bad idea. Good opportunity to change things up defensively. So that's just kind of for what I'm looking at when I get the ball. I have space. I know we don't have control. I know my beaters aren't necessarily engaging yet, but just trying to, always want to figure out what's going on. How closely are you being guarded, right? Because the last 2 times I caught the ball, the first time I got somebody on me and I'm kind of near midline, so I want to get them off of me. Next time I have space already, so you want to take a second to look at what's in front of you and figure out, like, okay, Jake's open, somebody's covered back there. We're killing a penalty, so I think that's Jules back there. Assess, if you lose track of where your players are and where the defense is, the time, if you can, figure that out again.
Yeah.
I decide I don't really want to do anything, so move yourself and move the ball. When in doubt, move the ball, move yourself. So I literally walk over to Jake, fake handoff, and get some more space by the sideline. Again, just to see, are they going to follow me or are they going to follow Jake? They called my bluff. They followed me. Felt pressure, so I kind of assess. Yeah, that's a good spot to stop.
Yeah.
Kind of assess how close they're going to guard you on the sideline. And then I was just fundamentals. Oh,
good shake, and like you were saying before, like the defender's eyes are not on you; they're on the ball, and they're not and they don't have a hand on you, and so you do the little shake, right out of eyesight, and get the goal.
And the reason that I was able to get there is because I went into her eyesight on purpose. So if you see, so I'll give it to Jake and then watch kind of the whole thing. Pause, right? So I know I'm out of her sight. I'm going to step almost as loudly as I can possibly step behind her into her left ear. Watch her, so play it slow and watch her head turn. Yep. Oh, where'd he go? And you come out into the field of view so that they see you there and they're already in an, oh shit, lost them type of step. You're going to get them to overreact every time. That was like a jog behind hoops. It looks like I just ran by her because when you're off the ball, you want to make sure you know where your player is. You can play it. So I step hard, come back out into view, and then look, I'm already 10 steps high before she realizes where I am, and that's an easy one from me.
So Team USA
boom, open hoop.
Times out Solomon's penalty.
Oh, and it was good spacing by the 3 of us up top. Jules did a good job of moving the whole time. She had an occupied chaser that was doing a really good job of marking her off the ball behind the hoops, away from the play, knew she couldn't help. That was a really good job of marking on Jules, but Jules did a good job of moving herself so that 3 of us had good spacing to open that up. And in that time, we were able to kill the penalty. Solly subs off after coming in and making a good play defensively. Now we're looking to run, decide whether or not you're running. Jake gives me a handoff and nobody steps. And that's just an example of, like, again, it can be as simple as get in transition, get ahead of the play, and run. And other times you can be more creative. I was ahead of the play, Jake gave it to me and pretended to set a little screen, and I just refused it. Those are only options that you can have as players in an offense if you're out running ahead of the ball.
Yeah, they do a good job. Mendoza clearing out Ing.
Now we get into snitch on pitch, so for us, we know, like, we're gonna try to run. There's probably not going to be that many beaters in our way. There are. Pull it out, be smart. One wasn't a beater. Jake just airmailed it. I tell you, he was having issues with his gloves. I think it was all in his head, but he airmailed a couple that week.
All during this, Jackson Johnson is fighting both of Team Canada's beaters himself.
Oh my God.
Beater play. Yeah, and Liz is just a hawk. Liz is super talented. Arms are deceptively long, and she just has excellent moves.
That was amazing.
Yeah, she didn't even get touched. It's one of those where she just really is deceptively long. Snitch didn't even think he had to put hands on her. He was going to just back up. He thought he had
twist.
And he just did it. closed so fast. He thought he had space, and all of a sudden she was on top of him.
Yeah.
It's a great pull.
That's a great pull. She did really well that weekend. I kept like I was at work and I'll pull up Instagram for a hot second and it would be like a new post with her with the snitch in her hand, and like the pose that she did with the like what the
Filipino.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was really cool. So really amazing player, really amazing seeker. So I think
Talented.
yeah, super talented. I would love to get someone like her onto the show, especially for a lot of female seekers on in Canada, because I think we don't have as many female seekers here in Canada. Just
sure.
Just as a personal observation, so getting someone like her on the show would be really good as well. But fabulous poll.
I would say, if you're looking for somebody to have like that, Liz would be great. She also has an accent, which is just more pleasant to listen to than my voice. But I'd say the three best female seekers that I've played with are Ashley Dolan. She's been around Boston area. She was at RPI with me. She played Boston Knight Riders, Revs, Bosny. Excellent defensive seeker with good moves as well. Good at using her body to get underneath arms. Autumn MacArthur, who is another one. She hasn't played in a while, but shout out to Autumn. Shout out to Houston Cosmos. She is exceptionally talented, built kind of like Liz. She's a little shorter, but she has those deceptively long arms, and she does this kind of, I don't know how she would describe it, but I describe it as like a window washer type of move where it's like you're looking at one hand, like swiping up by your face. Meanwhile, she's already like inside you pulling, like she's already underneath your arm. She has great effort. She could play basically any position. And Liz had an exceptional weekend. She's the other one I'd say. Like, I haven't played with that many female seekers, which I think is a separate issue that we need to look to address in the sport. But of the people that I've played with, those are three that I'd say the top-notch insight as to what's going through their head, how to use your body, how to use what you have, how to use, like, you know what I mean? Some seekers are just exceptionally strong. Some are Darren Creary and are almost 7 feet tall. Right? Other people have to use the assets that you have to manipulate a snitch, and I think that they would all give really good insights that's applicable to everybody and how to use what you're given to manipulate a snitch to get pulls.
Right. That's incredible.
That's my pitch for those three.
Your pitch. I like the pun. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. And with that being really cut short at 18:29 game time is, I think, the finish of the game. I think they call it
I don't remember if she has to pull this one twice or not. I mean, that's most of it. You see, Canada, they only end up with two goals on the board so far, but they've had excellent, they had a good scheme and good timing. They had players that made good tackles. Their beaters played it hard, and it's just you have to put it all together. The timing combined with dropping the ball, combined with putting a pass right on somebody's hands and just getting lucky. There are a couple of times when Americans were able to get lucky, and you get lucky and you can score a fast break on it. Well, that's a 2-goal swing. You know what I mean? That's huge. That can completely change a snitch on pitch game to an out of range game. But yeah, I didn't mean to pick it because it was a bloodbath. I meant to pick it because it was really closer than the score would indicate if you look at the details.
Yeah.
And just a good example of what players are trying to do. Like, how can you try to score the easiest goals that you can? You get out and transition and run. Well, how do you get to run? You need to get the ball. How do you get the ball? You play defense. Okay? And that means rotating when you're off the ball, being able to make your tackles on the ball or at least hold people up, communicating with your beaters, communicating with your off-ball chasers, and knowing your positioning well.
Yeah.
And so I think that this game did a good job, a better job than it seems on the surface, showcasing all the parts that you want to be thinking about while you're playing from a chaser perspective. game that was so heavily dominated by beaters.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing points. Thank you. Couldn't have said it better. But that was, and like you said, like I think it looking at how close it was, like you said, it doesn't reflect it by the score, but by looking at I think it's looking at the differences in defenses and how they handled it that like the Team USA did, because Team Canada did really try to put it on that back right unguarded chaser. But the different ways that each line, like you said, when we talked about the Texas line, how they handled it, and then what your line, how they handled it, I think that it's something very worthwhile looking at in different types of defenses to take out those options, which I think is very valuable for new players. So thank you for that.
Absolutely, and you know, like I said before, the scheme from Western Canada was not bad. You could look at another one from Ethan's channel. Went over a game between Bosnia and Revs from Oktoberfest, but one of Bosnia's main offenses this season was to get the ball to that unmarked chaser in the deep area behind, get cuts coming back across the field towards the front of hoops, and they get a lot of great goals out of that. Justin Cole is a player that does a great job with his body in the air and jump balls. Dave Littleton did a good job. You obviously have huge players like David Fox, Tyler Trudeau, Rachel Heald that are athletic beasts that can go up and make plays. But you see it, one of Canada's goals scored that exact way. You get a lane, get the ball behind hoops to the unmarked player, and then get diving cutters back in. There's nothing wrong with the scheme. I think the U.S. game of the day was tighter on a lot of the details. The communication was better, and we just a little bit of luck and a good job of playing hard to the end of every play and capitalizing, I think was the difference.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, with that being said, is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, I'd say that's it. Thanks so much for having me on. Sorry if I rambled a bit, but I think this is a really good idea that you have going, and I'm excited to listen to the rest of the series.
Oh, thank you very much, Teddy. Actually, I think you did absolutely phenomenal. We did have a shorter game, but I think this might be one of the shorter episodes. But very close. But this was absolutely phenomenal. Got a lot of information from you that I think a lot of new players, both in Canada and in the States, can take a look at and look at how you're thinking on the pitch, both on the pitch and off, on how you're looking at the defense and how you're looking at the strategy. So we're honored to have you on the show, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So thank you very much, and remember, Canada, keep it rich on the pitch.